Colorado Public Television, along with its partner CBS4 and KOA Newsradio, hosted one of the 3 televised debates featuring the candidates running in Congressional District 6, Mike Coffman and Morgan Carroll. The debate will air later tonight at 9 p.m. It was a great debate, so be sure not to miss it. It has become the most competitive, high-profile race in the state, and ads have dominated the airwaves. Eric, you helped me host the debate. What did you think? What are viewers in the treat for later tonight?
Yeah, it's one you should definitely watch. It was clearly of the, what did we do, Dominic, 18 debates this general election cycle. It was, many of those being ballot issues, but this was of the candidate races, the feistiest, and as you indicated in your question, it is the race of the year in Colorado by all accounts. That's somewhat a testimony to the fact that the presidential race and the Senate race are largely off the radar. It was feisty. They went after each other pretty well. There is no love lost between them. I noticed in many other debates after we're done and the credits roll, there's a little bit of goodwill and you sit around the set for 2 or 3 minutes and make happy conversation. There was no happy conversation here. As soon as the credits had rolled, they were both up out of their seats, microphones off, and out the door without a word to each other. Coffman was the aggressor here. I mean, Morgan Carroll gave it back as good as she took it. But Coffman was the one, it struck me as sitting on that set, who came loaded for bear, which tells me that they are worried, as Republican congresspeople around the country should be worried, that there is a drag effect. I think Mike Coffman was probably up in this race a few weeks ago. I don't know where the polls sit today, but I think there is a fear that he is being dragged down along with a lot of other Republicans, and so he was the aggressor in this debate.
Penn, if Mike Coffman is able to hold on to a seat in a year with Donald Trump at the top of his ticket and facing a formidable competitor, Morgan Carroll, does he keep it for as long as he wants it? The Democrats write it off?
No, because with redistricting, the boundaries are going to continue to change, and I think it's going to become a more and more difficult seat for Mike Coffman to hold on to, just as the suburban ring around Denver begins to become a more diverse population mix. I think Mike Coffman's the aggressor. We see national money on both sides flowing in large measure for both of these candidates because the Republican Party knows that he's vulnerable, that he can be taken out with Trump at the top of the ticket, and the Democratic Party knows they can pick up a seat. And Morgan Carroll is a good candidate. She has, she's portrayed herself well. She's been articulate, and she's been good with voters. And Mike's got to be the aggressor because if he's not careful, he's going to lose that seat.
Patty, we've seen a lot of crazy ads. Anything striking a tone with you?
They're getting a little nasty, and in Colorado you almost wish they could be more civil. I'm looking forward to this debate because probably it doesn't sound like it's all that civil. That's at least fun with debates. But a year ago, really Coffman looked like, even though Morgan Carroll is the most competitive contender against him so far, he looked pretty safe. And until all of a sudden the Trumpism and what that drag that Penn referred to, what that drag can do to him, it's going to be a really interesting race and an interesting debate.
David, wrap it up for us.
2 very experienced and well-qualified candidates, and if you have the Democratic ideology, you've got a good candidate. If you've got the Republican ideology, you've got a good candidate. If you're undecided, that's a great thing to watch on the debate. My dad served with Mike Coffman at the beginning of Coffman's career and towards the end of my dad's, and my dad at the beginning of his career served with Morgan Carroll's dad. So these are people who understand government, know what's going on, and Coffman's an effective legislator. Carroll would be an effective legislator. I would say if you find the deplorables at the top of the ticket bad, Coffman, to his credit, has always rejected the evil Republican candidate of impunity and crime, and unfortunately Representative Carroll hasn't done that on her side.
Again, that debate is tonight at 9 o'clock. Be sure to tune in. It's also online at cpt12.org.